My name is Melanie Ferstman, and I'll be your trainer today. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I have experience in instructional design and training on both a corporate and a university level. My background includes working at the University of Oregon as the training specialist in information services, and that's the capacity that I'm coming to you with. So welcome, everyone. Let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about Duo Universal Prompt, the Duo Universal Prompt. What we'll talk about today is, first during our agenda, we'll talk a little bit about our learning objectives, why we're here, and what our goals are. Once we're done talking about why we're here, what our goals are, we'll talk a little bit about some of the updates to Duo Universal, as well as what's changing and why things are changing. Finally, there will be an opportunity for questions at the end. So let's go ahead and talk first about setting some goals for our training. Learning objectives are here to help you understand not only what you're doing in training, but why you're here. This is a great opportunity to do some goal setting and to learn about what you'll be able to do at the end of the training. So our goals for today, our learning objectives, are to initially use Verified Duo Prompt to choose how you'd like to verify your identity through authentication. Authentication is just a fancy word for being able to verify your identity. Finally, we'll choose biometric or person-centered data that you can use as an option to verify your identity. The first question that folks ask a lot of the time when we're working in a changing environment, certainly with technology, is why is this changing? There are a few reasons why things are changing with the Duo Universal Prompt. One of them is improvements for online safety. This also helps to create security for your access to your technological services or technology services. It also helps you to use the Duo Universal Prompt more efficiently and easily. When you have a cleaner visual screen that you're looking at when it comes to the look and feel of an application, it's much simpler and quicker to be able to use that application. Then finally, there are also some requirements. Technologies update their products regularly. Duo is one of them. And we are part of that emphasis to upgrade the Duo Universal Prompt in the next few weeks. So let's go ahead and actually look at a part of the Duo Universal Prompt right now. That's Verified Duo Push. A Verified Duo Push is probably one of the more familiar elements of the Duo Universal Prompt. What you'll do in Verified Duo Push is, instead of clicking approve on a mobile device, for example, what you'll do instead is enter a 3-digit code, and we'll talk about what that will look like. You'll see an image of what that will appear as on your screen on the right-hand side with 3 numbers that will appear, and then you'll go ahead and enter those numbers. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. A huge benefit to this is greater login security, as we discussed in the previous slide. You'll use the same devices you've always used with Verified Duo Push. In this case, when you're working with Verified Duo Push, not only do you have the login security, but you also have familiarity. A lot of folks often ask me, if things are changing so much, what stays the same? One of the things that stays the same, of course, is that you'll be able to consistently access your applications and services online through the University of Oregon using the same devices you've always used with Duo Push in Verified Duo Push. Finally, there's an updated look and feel to what the Verified Duo Push screen looks like. It's easier to read. It's a lot cleaner in terms of its appearance. And that simplicity hopefully makes things a little more efficient for you as well. Now, when we're looking at logging into a Duo protected service, you'll see a few on-screen updates. The first update is in step 1. You'll notice that there is a 3-digit code that will appear on your screen when you're on the screen that you're using to log into your online service. A lot of us are familiar with being able to click that approve button. This is 3 digits, and it should be fairly straightforward. Then what you'll do on step 2 is you'll just enter that same 3-digit code into Duo Mobile in whatever way works best for you. Now, there is an element that's a little bit of a twist that I want to share with you because I think this is really important to note. When Duo recognizes that it's looking at a new device, one of the things it will do is present you with a choice. And you'll see these 2 choices that look very similar to what you have on the screen. One of those is asking, is this your device? And when you respond and click the button for yes, this is my device, what you'll come up with is you'll get access to your services with saved settings for 7 days. On the other hand, if you're using a shared device, other people use that device, for example, in that case, or a public device, you'll want to click the link for no other people use this device. And that will affect your access for 14 days because your device will be remembered in your cookies and in your cache for 14 days. In that case, you'll be prompted to use Duo Universal Prompt logins for the next 14 days. So from a safety and a security perspective, always click the no other people use this device option on shared or public computers for the sake of security. If you're working with a device that is purely your own, in that case, you can click yes, this is my device in order to save your settings for 7 days. So let's go ahead and look at a demo of what verified Duo Push will look like. As you're working with this typical Microsoft sign-in, you'll notice there's a next button to log in. This should look very familiar. You'll enter your password to log into, let's say, Microsoft 365. And when you click to sign in, you'll automatically be prompted on that device with a series of, in our case, at the University of Oregon, it will actually be 3 digits rather than 6. And the device that you're using where you have the Duo application, like a Duo mobile application, is going to ask, are you logging in? And when you click that, it will give you the opportunity to enter the verification code that is on your screen. So in this case, I'll click to activate the boxes that I see in front of me. I'll type in on my phone, my hypothetical phone, the numbers that are in the code that match, and then click verify. I'll be approved and be able to log into my Microsoft 365. So let's take a look at our next steps, choosing your verification method. With the Duo Universal Prompt, something that's important to know is that you'll actually have the opportunity to choose how you want to verify your identity in the Duo Universal Prompt in different ways. So for example, I would say probably the 2 most popular methods that people ask about or already use on campus is biometric identification and also Duo Mobile Push Approval, which you'll notice on the right-hand side of the slide are the 2 most secure options for the Duo Universal app. When we're looking at the strongest security perspective, those 2 most popular options are also the same. And it's important to emphasize that all methods are secure, but some increase security even further. And some also, like biometric identification and mobile push approval, are really at the top of that list. Now, when you're going to choose a verification method, it's important to emphasize, and again, this is something we touched on, but I want to really drive the point home that you'll be able to use the same devices that you use already. When you log into a Duo protected service, the first thing that you'll want to do if you want to choose a different option than what you already have is you'll notice that you can either send a passcode or you can click other options. The other options link is a smaller link on that clean interface that you'll see at the bottom of the screen. That other options link takes you to a screen with a list of verification methods. That list looks like this. And what you'll see on that list is the ability to view verification options for your selection. So let's say, for example, that I want to move from verified duo push into biometrics. I'll look for the opportunity, let's say, if I'm using Apple products to move into, let's say, Touch ID. I can do that. Then what I'll do is just log in using my new authentication choice by following the steps on the Duo Universal Prompt. Now, in terms of biometric verification, which we just touched on, it's important to know really sort of what that is and how it works. Biometric verification lets you use a personal feature, like a fingerprint, an image of your face, to log in. Now, if you have Face ID set up on your iPhone and you're logging into a Duo protected service on that iPhone, you can use that iPhone to log into that device. This approach uses two verification steps, hence Duo. One of those steps is what you know, like a fingerprint, or in the case of verified duo push, a passcode, and also something that you have, like a device. And so with biometric verification, what makes it more efficient in some ways is it lets you use a single device with that capability. So for example, with biometrics, you know, the thing that you know, that fingerprint information and what you have, that device are that one solo item. And the biometric feature on the device recognizes both. A key point, verification only works for logging into services on the device with the biometric feature. So if you want to log into a service on your laptop, for example, it helps to have Touch ID set up with the Duo Universal Prompt already. And we'll talk about what that will look like in a moment. I have some screenshots to show you. So for those of you who use Touch ID on your Mac laptops or on an enabled keyboard, that's available to you. Face ID and Touch ID are available on iPhones and iPads. Android biometrics are also available. Windows Hello is specific to personal Windows computers. So let's look at first what biometric verification looks like when you're working with a MacBook Pro, a MacBook Air, or Magic Keyboard with a Touch ID button. Now you'll see that there is a fingerprint icon on the screen. A fingerprint that's already enrolled in Touch ID, and again, you can go to the knowledge base and look at the Duo Universal specific information for this. There's a link to get to the Apple support site to do it. You'll need that as well as either Safari or Chrome. You'll need iCloud Keychain Sync enabled on the Apple devices you're using with Duo and the passkey that you use to create during setup. And there's really only one main step to this, which is something that has, I think, a really helpful simplicity to it. When you activate the Duo Universal Prompt, you'll be able to touch your Mac's Touch ID sensor once you're prompted to log into the application. And if you're not able to access the Touch ID sensor, like if you've closed and docked your laptop, then in that case, what you can do is actually just choose to type in your Mac login password to verify. If for some reason you need to cancel a Touch ID authentication that's already in progress, what you can do is actually click or tap the cancel option that's shown on your browser outside of the Duo Universal Prompt. Now, if you're working with Apple Touch ID or Face ID on an iPhone or iPad, that works in a similar way. Again, it's looking for that biometric verification or the person-centric element of what you know, which is, for example, your face image, or it is your fingerprint. You'll just scan your face with Face ID to log in, or you'll scan using that fingerprint. With Windows Hello, and again, this is not on UO managed computers, but personal Windows computers, there are some elements that you'll need, which are detailed in the knowledge base. But all you'll have to do is follow your device's prompt to enter your Windows Hello PIN. You'll scan your fingerprint or use facial recognition. and that should log you in. Then finally, with Android biometrics, it works in a way that's very similar to, let's say, Touch ID or Face ID. In this case, what you'll do is you'll just follow your device's prompt to scan your fingerprint or use the facial recognition piece. So that almost wraps up what we have. But before Q&A, I wanted to share some resources that I think will be quite helpful for folks. Again, to get to the knowledge base, one way that you can do that is you can go onto UO's main homepage, go to the upper right-hand corner to the search bar and search for knowledge base. The first link that comes up is the Information Services knowledge base. Not only can you find Duo information, like the Duo Universal Prompt category or FAQ, you can also find a variety of other helpful resources for technology use. There's also a two-step login Duo support. And you can also use our technology service desk. There's some really helpful folks that I can encourage you to work with should the knowledge base or Duo support not be answering your questions in the right fit for you.